Good morning, Curtis. If you'll just do me a favor and tilt that microphone up towards you so that you don't have to bend down so much. There we go, Chris. How are we doing? Curtis, how are you?
Or I could cut myself off at the knees.
How's it going?
I'm doing real well, Joseph. Good to see
good.
you. I want to be real brief. There's just something that I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come up and talk about. This Friday at the Roundhouse is a rather pivotal day in an effort to have called a constitutional convention to get money out of politics. It seems to be the only answer to that situation is to have a constitutional convention that is brought about by getting 2/3 of the states, I think that's 34, to agree to have a constitutional convention. At that convention, delegates will go through and come up with a plan to get money out of politics. And I guess I'm starting from the assumption that getting money out of politics is a good thing. Then when they come out with whatever proposal they have to get money out of politics, it will then have to be ratified by 3/4 of the states. And, of course, that's the case with all constitutional amendments. The only other way for this sort of thing to happen would be for our congressmen and senators in Washington to initiate these efforts and stop, get money out of politics. But, they've got a conflict of interest there. That's where their bread is buttered. And they have to have that money. They can't unilaterally say, okay, I'm not going to take Pharma's money. I'm not going to take George Soros's money. I'm not going to take union money. I'm not going to take the Koch brothers' money and so forth, because they would be essentially unilaterally disarming. And it's come down to the situation where if your competitor raises $1 million, you better raise $1 million. We have, for instance, Representative Lujan that's from our area here. He, like every other representative in the House of Representatives, is forced to spend half of his time in Washington and out of Washington on the telephone trying to raise money for the next election. And this is for a 2-year election cycle. And to me, that just turns out to be ridiculous. And pretty much every representative in Congress, one of the first things they say after they get into the House of Representatives and the Senate is, oh my gosh, I never realized how much time I was going to be forced to sit on the telephone 3, 4, 5 hours every day. Time that we're paying for. I think about $174,000, I think, is what a federal representative gets. So they have no motivation to take money out of politics, even though they hate it being there. It's quite a dichotomy, and it really confuses me.
Well, you mentioned Ben Ray Lujan. I think just about every day. In fact, this morning there was one there. I check my emails 4 or 5 times a day, and almost every day I have an email there from Ben Ray Lujan's office pitching a message supposedly like real positive, and we need to fight whatever. We need to fight the Republicans in Washington. You can help by donating $5, $10, whatever. I just kill those messages. I don't pay attention to them.
Yeah, I do too. I am a member of the New Mexico chapter of a thing called Wolf-Pac.com. Wolf-Pac, wolf-pac.com. It's a national organization that is concentrated on only one thing, and that is to promote a constitutional convention to get money out of politics. An interesting thing that I learned is that the state of New Mexico and every other state, I was concerned when I first saw this come about. I thought, okay, that'll never get through here in New Mexico because we have a Republican governor, and generally speaking, they have been in favor of money staying in politics. But it turns out the governor of any state, they have no say in this. This comes down to the grassroots. It comes down to you and me. Whose money? I want George Soros's money out of our political system. I want the Koch brothers' money out. I want Big Pharma's money out. I want the union money out. I want the Hollywood elites. I want their money out. Joseph, do you have any idea how much money came into our last election from foreign corporations and foreign governments?
No. And are you talking more into the Democratic Party or the Republican or both?
Either party.
Either one? Yeah, know how much?
I don't know either. Oh. None of us know. That's the key.
Yeah.
It's called dark money.
Yeah.
We have no right to know where it comes from. It is perfectly legal for a foreign corporation or a foreign government to pump millions and millions of dollars into our system because, somebody along the line said money is speech somewhere. Well, if money is speech, those people are screaming loud and clear, and you and I are whispering in the dark.
Yeah, Yeah, we talk about our elected officials in Washington doing their job and doing all these things. And of course, they're going to remind us every time of how good of a job they're doing for our state or whatever. But really, what runs Washington is politics, lobbyists, and money, big money.
Money.
I remember about 2-3 years ago, I had Senator Tom Udall here, sitting where you are. And that particular week, there was a lot of stuff going on in the politics and so forth. And I just couldn't, and I told him, I said, Senator, I'm sorry, but I can't have you sitting 5 feet away from me and not tell you what I'm hearing in the community from constituents, from voters, is that people are so tired of what's going on in Washington between both parties. Republicans want to they want to outnumber the Democrats to have power and control, and vice versa. Same thing with the Democrats. And so you spend too much time arguing and fighting amongst each other for control. In Washington, I says, right now, it's not about serving your constituents or your state. It's about power, greed, politics, and I says, and actually, and maybe the worst thing I did, it was a knee-jerk expression, is I lifted my right arm and with kind of a curved finger the way they do, my index finger, I didn't point it straight out, but more like curved towards me. And I said, Senator, people just want you to do the damn job you were elected to do in Washington. His eyes opened up so big, and his mouth dropped. And he, and I, after a while, I gave it some thought, and I thought, oh boy, he's not going to like me from now on. But no, about 4 months later, I ran into him downtown in some activity was going on. I saw him, but I didn't think he had seen me. And the room was full of people, and I just wanted to get out of that room quick and not to get jammed in the door going out. But no, after a while, he called me out. I was already, 20 feet down the sidewalk. He said, Joseph. So I went back, we shook hands, and we talked. About a week later, Ben Ray Lujan called from Washington. I told him the same thing. And he says, Joseph, I agree with you. He said, because actually, to tell you the truth, he says, in some circles here in Washington, they know you're very outspoken. But I told him the same thing. Just do the damn job you people were elected to do.
Well, I think that these people go into this career, if you want to call it that, with the very best of intentions. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, I think they go in with great intentions, but they get caught up in that system where they have no choice but to go for the money. There are other countries, I lived in one, where this does not happen. And, additional serendipitous, I guess, benefits of this sort of a thing would be you wouldn't get to watch all those political commercials on TV for 6, 8, 10 months prior to the election. I lived in Japan, where the campaigning season was limited to 30 days.
Oh, wow.
And there were no television ads. You could get a van and put loudspeakers on it and drive around the neighborhood, very old school, between 9 and 5 in the daytime, and you could blast out your message. You could stand by the nearby train station and hand out your flyers and wave your flags and wave in the glad hand and so forth. And 30 days later, it's over. But we're up against a situation where all of those billions and billions of dollars, straight up, it goes to the media companies, and the media companies, I'm sorry, yourself included, are going to have a hard time wanting to take that money out because that's their money, and that's the way they look at it.
So, Curtis, tell our listeners, what's the strategy here? Is there a planned date already for when you want to have this convention? This is a big step forward, possibility on Friday for New Mexico to become what would be the 6th or 7th, I believe it is, state to sign on to this request for a constitutional convention. At the Roundhouse, Friday morning. I'm going to be there at 7 a.m. Yeah.
And the hearing starts in front of the Rules Committee at 8 a.m. Or it may come on later than that. They seldom stay right with their schedule. It's in room 321, a little dyslexia going there, 321 at the Roundhouse. The name of the bill is SJR 12, Senate Joint Resolution 12. And, this is something, Joseph, that in all national polls, 90% of people who are asked say money in politics is a bad idea.
Yeah.
And this is Republicans, Independents, Democrats, you name it, all the same. So I would love it if anyone felt like joining. This isn't the final step, even here in New Mexico. Certainly, we still have a long road to hoe here. And hopefully, if I have anything interesting, I'll let you know about it, and perhaps we'll talk again another time as this process goes on. But if anyone felt like coming to the Roundhouse tomorrow, you'd be easy to find. I'll be easy to find. I'll be the biggest guy, maybe the loudest. We're meeting on the second floor of the Roundhouse at 7 o'clock on Friday. And would love to see you there, regardless.
So it's Friday, not tomorrow, but it's Friday.
That's right. It's on Friday.
Yeah, okay.
This coming Friday the 3rd.
All right. Well, Curtis, thanks a lot. This is very important, the message you're sharing today. So I'm glad you came up, and keep us informed as to what transpires from here forward.
I certainly will do. Thank you, Joseph,
Thank
for
you.
allowing me on the air.
Sure. Bye-bye. Okay, folks. Well, my goodness, time went by so fast this morning, and you've been listening this morning to Curtis Pluggy. Again, talking about, money out of politics. And on Friday, again, at 7 o'clock, they'll meet up in the Roundhouse in Santa Fe. And, folks, if you have an interest in the topic with my first guest, CurtisKFUN with the New Mexico Alzheimer's Association, you can reach him or anyone there at 505-266-4473. Or you can also call the 1-800 number, which is 1-800-272-3900, 3900. That's 1-800-272-3900. Again, the number in the Albuquerque office is 505-266-4473. All right, folks, and I do hope to have CurtisKFUN, back on the air one of these days. Oh, by the way, their website is alz.org/New Mexico. There you'll find a wealth of information. And also the other one that he left with us is nm.org MyCD. If you go to MyCD, and so that too is a good website to keep in mind of and to remember. So check that out if you're interested on this. Well, folks, today is Tuesday. That's right. So that concludes today's program. We'll see you back in the air mañana. Tomorrow morning, I'll be the one waking you up. I won't get a chance to go for my early morning walk because, Mike Williams was hired. I don't know if he told you or not, but he was hired by a movie company. He's going to be in Albuquerque with his drone. They've hired him to do surveillance or something or other. I don't know. But anyway, so I'll be your wake-up man. Hopefully your wake-up man tomorrow on the air at 6 o'clock. Take care. This is KLVF-FM 100.7 and KFUN AM 1230 and KFUN FM 103.7 in Las Vegas, New Mexico. And around the world at KFUN Online 1230.com. Bye-bye. Adios.
You're among them.